There are two really popular things that are going around the craft world right now, and one of which is a program called Canva. I'm sure you don't live under a rock and you've heard about the program called Canva. Canva is free. Now, you can upgrade to the Pro edition. I certainly pay for Pro, but you don't have to pay for Pro because it is a free design program. Free is my middle name. The second really popular thing that's going around in the craft world are making these activity books. I made this for free within Canva. These things right here only require a free Canva account. Also, you only need a printer for these. You don't need a special die cutting machine or anything like that. You could just print it and fold it, and no special equipment needed. This right here turned out fabulous. So that's why you're here today, because I'm going to show you how to make these for free within Canva. I am going to talk about a couple things that you will need Canva Pro for, definitely an optional, but again, we're going to go back to, I even pay for it because I love Canva so much. Are you ready to learn how to make these super popular activity books free within Canva? Let's go.
Now this is what your final coloring page should end up looking like, but for you, let's start at the very beginning. So the very first thing you want to do is just be in the Canva homepage, and then what you want to do is come over here to create design. Now what you need to do is come down here to custom sizes. So over here, this is where you're going to put the page size that you are going to be printing on. For me, I'm going to be doing the standard letter size. I also want it to be in landscape versus vertical because we need to design in the landscape position. So for me, I'm going to have 11 inches as the width and 8.5 as the height. Make sure this is in inches and then press create new design. Now what we need to do is build a guide for our coloring book. You can see on my screen that I already have the rulers up here and down here. If you do not have this, what you need to do is come over here to File, and then you want to go to Settings and put this right here. It says Show Rulers and Guides. Click on that, and then all of this will be on your screen. Now what I'm going to do is come to the very top, and you see how my arrow goes up and down? I just am going to click and drag. When that happens, you're going to see this guide. Now what we want to do is drag this to the middle of the page. It should just snap right into the middle. Once you have that, you want to let go. Now what we need to do is come over here to the far left where you're going to see that ruler pop up on my screen. We're going to drag this and move it all the way to where it snaps in the middle. Now what we need to do is insert 2 more lines for over here and over here. This is going to create the force that are going to be on top and the bottom. So what I'm going to do is come over here to the very far left where I have that arrow pop up, and I'm going to drag in another line. Now at this point we are creating fourths, right? So I'm going to take this first line and I'm going to go over to 2.75. You can see on the very top of my screen where it says 2.75. When I have that done, just let go. Okay, moving away, I'm going to go back over to my ruler and I'm going to drag over another line, and this one I need to be at 8.25. So I'm at the very top, you can see my numbers. I'm just going to keep dragging this until it says 8.25 and then let go. Now these guides, when we go to print them, they will not be there. They're just for you so we can line things up. Now what we need to do is start inserting our elements. So let's go over here into element, and I am just going to insert a square. I'm going to make this square, it auto-populates to this pink. It can be any color. I would not suggest using white though, because everything else on the screen is white right now. Now what I'm going to do is taking this square, I'm going to make it the size of my first rectangle. So we're just going to make this just like this until it snaps into place. This right here is going to be the rectangle of that one quadrant or that one activity sheet that we have. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste. So Command C and Command V. Let's come up here to this color swatch and make this another color just for right now. Doesn't matter what color. Okay, once we are done choosing a color, this new rectangle that we have, what we want to do is just make this a little bit smaller than the original rectangle. What this rectangle is going to be is that white portion where our activities are going to go, coloring pages and so forth. So you want to make this a little bit smaller than that rectangle. This is going to be different for everyone. It just depends on how you want your activity book to look. So just make this new purple rectangle any size that you want. I'm going to keep it like that. Now what I'm going to do is selecting this one, I am going to come over here and I'm going to make this white. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both pieces, so those two rectangles that I have, and I'm going to copy and paste. And I'm going to fill up my page with all of these rectangles. I am going to intentionally leave this one blank. The reason for that is this right here is actually the back side of your activity book. So I am not going to put an activity on there, so I'm just going to leave it blank. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back in those peak rectangles that we initially created. Let's just go ahead and delete them. It's going to look like everything is disappearing. That's because everything's white right now. But just trust the process. Delete those pink rectangles. Okay, now what you're going to do is come over here to this left empty rectangle. Just click on it. And this color box is going to show up. Just click that and we can just turn it to any color. Because right now what we're doing is we're building our guide that we're going to be able to use forever, right? Okay, so let's just choose any color. So once you've chosen a color, essentially what you have is your forever guide for your activity books. This right here is going to be every single time you open up for an activity book, if you wanted to make multiple different themes or versions of it, this is what you would open up every single time. So what you want to do now is just save list. Now when I go over into my Canva homepage and then I search for activity book template, these two things are going to pop up. This right here is going to be your forever template. Now what you want to do with this template is, because we don't want to ever change our template, is you're going to click these three dots and we are going to say make a copy. So this one right here, this new copy, what you want to do is click on it. Now what we can do is make changes to this copy to the theme that you want to create for a new theme. Let's do a different theme besides Bluey. Cinderella is always a hit for child's birthday parties, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here at the very top of my internet browser, the same internet browser that I'm in using Canva, and I'm just going to press this arrow button. Now what you want to do is up in Google, what you want to do is remember the theme that we are currently working in. So for me, I'm going to be doing a Cinderella. So I'm going to put in Cinderella and let's do color pages. Then just press return. Now what you want to do is come over here into images. And all of these images are going to pop up. All you need to do is find the image that you want to use. I like this one right here. I am going to right click this and press copy image, and then what I'm going to do is go back over into Canva and I'm going to right click and I'm going to press paste. You also could use your keyboard shortcuts Command V if you didn't want to use your mouse. Now for this there is a border and then also this URL right here. I don't want to keep that in my coloring page, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller, and when you do this what's going to happen is your Canva is going to kind of crop the picture out, so you're not going to have those lines if you had them. Now if you wanted to, you could also come over here into edit image and press this background remover. Now if you do not pay for Canva Pro, you won't be able to use this. Background remover is a Canva Pro thing. It is not necessary, but just in case you wanted to. So remember, this right here is going to be the back, right? This right here is going to be the front. So I'm going to create coloring pages or activity sheets for all the other rectangles besides this one. This one right here, I'm going to leave for the front or the cover of my coloring page. So you can make this any size you want, filling up one color page. When we're done doing that, what you want to do now is go back over into your Internet Explorer, and you can either keep searching for coloring pages for Cinderella. Like this one's really cute. So I'm going to right click and press copy image, go back over into Canva, and then right click and press paste. And now for this one, I think I'm going to put this up here. So what I'm going to do is just move this, make it smaller to fit inside my white rectangle. And all of the images that are going to be up here, if you're using color pages, if you're using a word search, all of these ones need to be upside down for you when you're in the design process. So now that I have my Cinderella put in a rectangle, what I'm going to do is come over here to this rotate button, and I'm going to rotate it negative 180 degrees. Okay, go over back into your Internet Explorer, and I'm going to do one more Cinderella coloring page. Now what I'm going to do is the same steps I've done before. Okay, now what you want to do is come over here. Now, to get like a word search or something like that, all you need to do is go back into your internet browser, and let's just put in Cinderella or whatever theme that you're working in, an activity sheet. I'm sure there's other ways that you could probably search for things, or you can create them yourself or whatever, but like this is the quickest and easiest way to do all of this. Okay, so the very first one that pops up is this right here, and there's actually 1 and 2, 3 activities that I can do on this one thing. That is perfect. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to press copy image because I need to fill up 3 boxes, right? This image was perfect. So I copied it. I'm going to right click and press paste. Now with this one, what I'm going to do, because there is 3 activities that I'm going to end up using, I'm going to copy and paste it in Canva and get 3 because there's 3 activities. Now what I'm going to do is taking the first one, I am just going to crop everything out besides that left maze. When I have that cropped, what I'm going to do is just make this smaller to fit into this rectangle. When I have that done, all I'm going to do is come down here and I'm going to rotate this. Going over into my next copied and pasted thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop out everything besides that word search. I'm going to take it up here, resize this to fit inside this rectangle that I'm working on, and then let's rotate. Okay, going back over into here, the last thing we want is that dot to dot. So same thing, we are going to crop out what we don't need. And for this one, you don't need to turn it upside down. You just need to make it bigger so it fits into your rectangle. All right, now what I want to do is I want to start constructing the very front of my activity book. So what I'm going to do is go back into my internet browser, and this time what I'm going to do is like Cinderella background. And you're going to get a bunch of these different backgrounds, so you're just going to choose one that speaks to you. Okay, so this is the one that I'm going to use because I actually really like the look of this. So let's right click this and press copy image. Going back over into Canva, you're going to right click and press paste. Okay, what I'm going to do now is take this background and I am going to put it inside that rectangle, front rectangle, and I'm going to crop out the things I don't need. And actually that ends up being really dark, so I'm just going to go ahead and switch out the background to something a little bit lighter. Okay, because I've changed the look of this a little bit, I want to actually include like a really cute Cinderella clip art. So what I'm going to do is come up here to the Cinderella background, and I am going to change this over to Cinderella PNG and find one that speaks to you. This one's cute. So I'm going to right click and press copy image, come over here to my Canva, right click and press paste. Now this particular image has a checkered background, so what I need to do is come over here to edit image and press background remover. If you do not pay for Canva Pro, you will need to find a image that doesn't have a background, or there's other websites that you can go to remove the background if you needed to. You would just remove the background there and then import it into Canva. Okay, I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller to fit inside my rectangle. I want to add a little shadow, so I'm going to come down here to shadow, and you can create any type of shadow. Love the look. Okay, now what I want to do is put in some wording. So all I'm going to do is press T on my keyboard. You also can come over here to text and put add text box. And I'm going to take this text box, I'm going to bring it up here. And because I lack 0 originality, I am just going to put welcome to Ashley's birthday. Not a whole lot of fun on that one, but you can use any type of wording you want to use. Now what you want to do is just come up here into font and choose a font that you want to use. Now just like with like the Canva Pro thing, if you see a crown means that you have to have Canva Pro in order to use it. If they have no crown, that means anyone can use it. So it does not have to be a Canva Pro thing. Now I've chosen my font, it's Angelina, and I'm just gonna make this larger so it fits into my rectangle. Okay, if you wanted to change the font color, you totally could, coming up here to text color and changing over the font. I like that color font, but I also want to have like a little shadow. So I'm gonna come over here to effects and just give it a little bit of a shadow. Now what I want to do is change the background color. So what I'm gonna do is come over here into the background, just click on it. And we are going to come up here to the swatch. Now, since I already have a couple photos here, what I'm going to do is come over here into photo colors and I'm going to press see all. Do you see this right here? These are actual colors that are found in these colored images. So it all will match, which I absolutely love. Since Cinderella is like a periwinkle color, I'm going to choose this periwinkle color. Now everything just looks so cute and matchy-matchy. Although I'm not totally in love with this background, so let me just change that. All right, now I like the look of my finished product. This is so stinking cute. Now when you're happy with your finished activity book, all you want to do is make sure you rename this and save. Now all we want to do is just press share and then press download. You can either save this as a PNG, a JPEG, PDF, it's whatever you choose. I'm going to choose this at the best setting possible. And when I'm done doing that, I just want to press download. Okay, so now what I need to do is just print this out. So I'm going to Command P, which is print. And here's the deal. My particular printer, I'm able to print borderless, so I'm not going to have a white border throughout. If you don't have a borderless printer, that's totally okay. I'm going to print it both ways just to show you that it all works the same. But for me in particular, what I'm going to do is come over here to paper size. And I'm going to choose borderless. Now what you want to do is make sure and choose the correct media quality. I am just going to be using plain old copy paper for this. You don't need anything fancy for these activity sheets, which is amazing. Now you're going to see on my screen that I do not have a border, and that's because my particular printer doesn't need a border and I can do borderless. But I'm just going to press print. And again, just to show you that it all works the same, I'm going to reprint this just like you would if you do not have a borderless printer. Okay, here are the two pieces of paper printed out. One is the borderless print. Another one has the border on it. Now the optional supplies, you definitely don't need this, but it is a scoring board. That's just going to help make our lines nice and good and straight. The other thing that you can purchase is a stapler to staple your books together. Not really necessary, but just in case you wanted it. You are going to need an X-Acto knife or a rotary blade just to make one straight line cut. And then I have a bone folder. That just helps create really crisp lines. If you don't have a bone folder or a scoring board, getting a credit card so we can make our creases nice and tight, that's perfect. Okay, when it comes to both of these, the folding is all going to be the same. What you want to do is fold this like, what is this, hot dog style? Fold it hot dog style right down the middle, making sure that everything is nice and straight. I am going to go ahead and use my scoring board for this portion. So I'm just going to make a little thing down the middle, and I am going to line up my little score mark to one of the score lines, taking my bone folder, and I'm just going to push down on my scoreboard. This is just going to create those nice crisp lines. I'm going to do it a couple times. When I'm done doing that, I'm just going to fold this over. Then I'm going to take my bone folder and just crease down my paper. Now what you want to do is we're going to open it up, and now we want to do hamburger style. So like this, right? Just going back to kindergarten. And we're going to just make a little crease. I am going to use my scoring board to score in a straight line down the middle. Make sure my corners are nice and tight. Taking my bone folder, And I'm just going to make sure that everything is nice and creased. I'm also going to go both ways with my bone folder, we're essentially breaking the fibers in the paper to where they'll bend easily back and forth both ways. Now what you want to do is create 2 more lines, just like those original lines that we had in our design, those like fake white lines or pink lines, same thing. So we're going to take this and we are going to put this into the middle of our page, making sure that it's nice and straight throughout. Taking my bone folder, we're going to just create a nice creased edge. And I'm also going to turn this around and I'm going to go the other way, making a nice creased edge. Now what you need to do is the same thing on the other side. We're going to take this, meet it in the middle, making sure your lines are nice and straight, your edges are nice and straight on your piece of paper. And I'm just going to make a crease. Fold this over, make a crease. So this is what your final piece of paper is going to look like. Kind of similar to what it looked like in the design process. Those fake pink lines that we had, they're all lined up right here. Now doing the same thing, you're going to do the same process if you do not have a borderless printer. Okay, and this is what your final project will look like if you don't have a borderless printer. Same as what we had in Canva. All right, now what you want to do is taking your X-Acto knife and you are going to cut a slit from this corner all the way down to this corner. So these 2 quadrants, you're just going to do a slit right down the middle. Want to make sure that you do this nice and straight, following that fold line corner to corner. So it should look like this. Doing the same with this one. So it should look like that. Okay, going back to this, what you want to do now is we're going to take this and we are going to pin it like this. Let's try this again. Ready? We're going to pick this up and pull. Okay, so it's going to look like that. Don't tear it apart because it will tear. It's just paper. So we're going to pick this up and then like this. Okay, so we're kind of doing like origami. These white pieces, we are going to fold them in. Okay, just like that. And now what you can do is make sure everything is nice and straight. Taking your bone folder, oops, crisp up those things. Now this is where the optional stapler would come into play. If you wanted to staple right here, you totally could, but if you don't want to, that's fine, because look, we have two things. We have a color page, and then we have an activity. We have an activity and a color page. Then we have an activity and a color page, and then the closing is that back thing. You could also have done a different, like thanks for coming, whatever, but this is it. Now the same thing when it comes to the borderless one is you're just going to pinch and pull, making sure that the white pieces are together, and then you're just going to fold in your pieces, making sure everything is nice and crisp. Now when it comes to this one right here, you are going to have a border throughout, right? If you wanted to, what you could do is cut that border off. So at the very bottom, all you need to do is take a guillotine cutter, or if you have scissors, just do one straight line down there. And then we're going to take this one, just this one sheet, and let's just cut off the white of this one sheet. Okay. And then you're going to come to the very back one, whoop, and doing that same thing. Now the downfall of doing something like this is when we open this up, these pages are going to be shorter. So this page and this page are all shorter. Still works the same, but just know that they will be shorter than all the rest of them if you cut them off. But it's nicer to not have that white border too. You know what I mean?
Isn't Canva absolutely amazing? I mean, you could have made these for free if you wanted to, all within Canva. All right, y'all, I sure hope you loved the end results of your activity books, and I sure hoped I inspired you to create, and I'll see you later.